Hey, what's up, Andrew? Sorry it took a little while to get this to you, but welcome to Solo. And I kind of understand you've got a decent amount of hash power that you want to stay on Solo and kind of play some networks with some bigger blocks. And so I personally, with my farm, a little bit smaller farm, so I kind of pinpoint and hit, but I'm actually right now in a scenario where I am kind of those are my main four rigs, and I'm kind of brute forcing Radiant right now. Um, but backwards keeps stealing all my blocks. But they've got the halving coming up same time as Bitcoin, and I've got a few rigs that can hit pretty well. So usually 1660, my 1660 rig and the 3060 rig are usually what I play on here. I don't usually have all of them on, but that's kind of what I'm doing now. And so since you've got a pretty good amount of hash power, what I would recommend for what you're looking to do are these three networks, kind of in order of what I think adoption will be if you want to hold or whatever the different strategies. Because I do not hold, so you should have that caveat before we start. I'm kind of project agnostic. I just like big block networks, and I kind of play them to get ahead to get a little bit more hardware, and then I'm almost at my farm capacity, and then I'll start stacking coin. But um, I use this website, poolbay.io. I just found them on a Google search like 8 months ago, maybe a year ago. But they just pull in data from CoinGecko and somewhere else, MinerStat, I think. So, but it'll tell you the block reward. So 50,000, 5 days. That's about an $80 block. 10 million, seven. So that's about a $70 block. Um, Next to hash. So and I think I don't know much about the Equihash algorithm. I've tried this one, but not at length. But you can see the block reward here is 6 and the price 24. So I'm not a number surgeon, but I think that's like 150, 160 something. So um, you just kind of can bounce, between these. And so let's see. Efficiency is not as important here as uptime, no missed shares, consistent reporting. Every single share is potentially signing that block. So if you've seen the other video, you can kind of see how to, play pools off of each other. And so the website is really cool. I asked him to make a chart. I just emailed him. He had a contact on here somewhere. And I got him to, where is it? Here we go. Hash rate versus difficulty. So it takes a step out. You don't have to look up, that network, how the difficulty adjusts. Um, and so this is Radiant entire network. 2 years. So you can see, long term, we're still pretty low. It's a great network to solo. I think it'll still be around, you can see recently the hash rates kind of went up. So the difficulty has increased slightly. So it's really pretty steady. There's not a lot of change there difficulty wise. Um, so I'm on there trying to grab a few blocks. And then so as my, let's see, as these rigs start to hit, I'll peel them off. Now, this 10850 and the 3080, I can um, they both hit Nexa pretty well, and so you can bounce around, even without hitting a block, just kind of based on chances, you know, with other networks. So here, let's do Nexa, and so we can kind of see that same way. It's pretty low right now, so it's a really good time to be soloing it. And it's actually got a really steady hash rate. It's not going up or down at all. So that kind of tells me that it's maybe bottomed out on hash rate. Nobody's coming on. It's kind of slowed down, but nobody's that's there is really dropping off. So it seems that they're not going for profit, you know. So those are pretty good odds, especially when you look at this difficulty in the red. You know, you can see that it's the lowest it's been in some time. So it's a great time to solo Nexa as well, and not, you know, like better than Radiant, but to kind of play off of each other. Now Bitcoin Gold, I've not hit a block on this yet. I did try it once. I'm not super friendly with the Equihash algorithm with my particular setup, so I don't hold anything against it. I don't think it's inferior or anything like that by any means, but just, you know, with that caveat. So this network, I'm not speaking of experience of hitting blocks. The other two, I've hit plenty of blocks and feel pretty comfortable, you know, sharing facts and things. This I have not hit, so I've just tried for a day or two, and then I moved off. You can see the hash rate there is up, and then the difficulty's in an upward trajectory. So you may, you know, it kind of seems intuitively, well, maybe I don't want to solo this right now, but you can kind of see if you've got a bigger peak here, like something like this, where it's going to drop off. You can see the hash rate went from 5 to 3.3, so that's a pretty big drop looking backwards, you know, that from 3.4 back up to that, you know, it's like almost a 50% difference there. And you can see that actually affected the difficulty, which is what we're more looking for, to come down as well. And so not necessarily that number being low, but that process of adjustment there is a prime time to hit with if you're a long shot network. You know, like I could hit once a month with my hash rate or something like that. This is your most probable time to hit, is like during that fast difficulty adjustment. And so that's kind of the main game here, is picking these networks. And kind of timing the hash rate and the difficulty for that adjustment is super nice. Not that you won't hit on steady, it's just that every single hash is kind of the same odds, you know. And here your odds go way more in your favor, way more in your favor, way more in your favor, way more in your favor. And some of these networks, as they're adjusting, you know, if they're coming down, hash rate's going down, one or two block times might go up, and every network adjusts a little different. And it'll start kind of freaking out. We're like, I need a block, I need a block, I need a block. And so it'll scrape in, and that's when I've hit the most long shot stuff, where it's like, well, I shouldn't be hitting that. You know, it's always during this time, these big drop offs. Or this one here is real pretty, something like that. So if you can kind of be on when that goes down, that's the bee's knees. But this is a great website just for a real quick glance at stuff. If you get into Bitcoin Gold, so the 2 miners is going to reflect a little bit faster if you need like a real up-to-date minute by minute, so you can kind of see it's going to respond faster, because these excuse me, these pool bay ones these are daily averages, so it's just the difference in one day's to the next average. So it's not like a pinpoint kind of thing. And then I won't cover this again, but in the main video you kind of saw that you can chart these, and so to make sure the pool is steady when you're comparing, you know, what blocks hit what pool. So What else was it? I think there was something else I wanted to put into here. Oh, yep. So when you're picking your pool, one thing to consider is ping. You know, so ping only really matters if you come into a tie. You and another miner kind of signed at the same time. Then that's where ping kind of comes into play. You can follow these links somewhere in this article, but if you just search two miners ping tool, um, you install it. It's pretty straightforward. You come in. Oh no, I'm running it in the wrong window. That was goofy. Let's do this again. So I edit in Notepad, and so I wanted to see about Nextally. I didn't end up. Well, oh no, I did try it. I've had terrible luck on Hero Miner Solo. That could be anecdotal, but um, where I'm at and all my stuff, everything's a little different. But I hit really well on Viper. I've hit well on Solo Pool. A little bit on R Plant, not so much. Hero Miners, I'm just not. I don't hit very well on their solo pools. I don't know why. Um, but let's see. So we'll do Viper. So I've just copied it, paste it in here, save it, and then where did it go? And so this gives you a round trip time. That's a good way to test pools. Now, I've got one short up, I think, where you'll see that when I mined ALF, I've hit like 168 blocks on there. I hit way better on solopool.org. My ping time is abysmal. It's literally over 1 second on solopool.org. But I can hit there like 5, 6 times more than what I would hit on Hero Miners with 40 milliseconds. So ping time is just a tiebreaker, and it's only one factor, and it gets a lot more weight, in conversation than I think maybe it deserves. Um, all right, so here's a good example of kind of how to hop in and out. So this is a lithium. Hopped on to Solo Pool earlier today about 3 p.m. and hopped off about 10:30 p.m. So within that 7-hour time, I hit 2 blocks. And so you don't want to stay on the network the whole time, and take my pretty good luck run there and move on. And it's also a good example. I do have way better luck on Solo Pool. My best 2 options where I'm at are solopool.org, which you can see has up to 1 second almost, or 1 second. Yeah, one of them is over 1 second ping time. Whereas I can connect to Hero Miners at 45 milliseconds. But I rarely hit on Hero Miners. I consistently hit on Solo Pool. So while ping is a factor, the pool you're on and some other factors do weigh in kind of heavily. So that was this rig. Just 2 3080s and 2 temporary 1660 supers until they get in a rig. And then we're hunting a Zephyr block with half the CPU farm. So, hop in and out. If you're trying the solo, don't stay on there and get addicted. It can be a little bit like gambling. Take your wins and kind of move on. The reason I moved over to Nexa, I do have one other rig on it. So this is the total network hash rate, and you can kind of see lower high, lower low, and it's on its way up. So although the stats aren't great on the network right now, I'm kind of anticipating a drop, and that's where I have the best luck, is riding these adjustments down. So I'm kind of anticipating a smaller downturn here. And I could be very wrong. That's kind of the fun in solo mining and timing these pools. But you know, if you hit some blocks, hop off, move around, maybe do some pool for a while. Don't get addicted. Don't know what that was. So I wanted to show you that, and then yeah, mainly the solo pool. This hash rate versus difficulty. It's very handy, and and that's pretty much the trick. And so, any questions, just let me know. Um, as you do hit, so like if this 10,850 or this 3080 for me were to hit tonight, I kind of let them roll to like, because a lot of times a rig will hit twice in a row. I don't know why, but it just happens. Sometimes, more often than you would think. And so I'll just leave it on for another 5–10% usually. So let's say 3080 hit tonight. It takes, oh my gosh, almost 3 months, so 90 days. So I'm not leaving that on for 9 days. That would be 10%. But I might leave it on for another day or two, unless I see something. Maybe I see the next difficulty come like way down, you know, then I'll go ahead and just peel it off immediately. Um, and there's just some different little strategies like that. So you can have, after a while, you might notice that certain rigs hit on certain networks better, and so you can kind of, you know, okay, well I'll put this rig over here. So I want to show you this because it kind of is a great example. Is this the wrong? Nope, that's pool. So sorry, that's irrelevant. I want to show you this. So this is when Viper opened their ALF pool. I was the first miner on there for solo, and I kind of brute forced it. And you can see that the brute force didn't really matter at all. I'd have been better off just having my rigs that I know can hit on there. So I had kind of some silly numbers, and then the rigs that I know can hit on ALF kind of started to come up, and then I've got one I just left on here. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Let me get a sip of coffee. But I wanted to show you that just to kind of show that brute force doesn't necessarily, you know, it really is like certain rigs do hit certain networks. I think specifically I linked one video in the Discord that kind of was about testing for Hypro, and you can kind of see that in the difference between a 2-card rig and a 10-card rig. And so here's kind of an example of how I test. So Hypro, I didn't know much about it, and it had short blocks, so that was convenient. The X3D rig is 2 3060s. The 2060 rig is 2 2060s. So I had this on. You can kind of see the numbers. I saw the X3D hitting pretty consistently. And so somewhere around here I turned off. Oh, that switched over. Why did you do that? So somewhere around in here I turned off the 2060 rig. And so that just left the 2 3060s. And then you can see the luck run there over a pretty long period of time. And I said, okay, well that means the X3D rig can hit right now. The current conditions can hit pretty well. So I put on my 10-card 3060 rig. And you can see it was hitting, but not near as consistently on the low portion. So I'm spending a lot more resources to get those. So I turned the 3060 off. It's not hitting hyper right now. And so that's kind of how I go through and see which rigs, you know, will do, rather than throwing all the rigs at one network at one time, which does, you know, work in some ways, but this is kind of how I roll long term. Just wanted to kind of show you that for what it's worth. So I just kind of test each individual rig, and you know, hyper is a lot easier with a smaller network, and the blocks hit a lot faster, obviously, than something like Radiant. But that's how I started to test Radiant as well. Well, every network I do, if I'm gonna, you know, do it for like a season or something, or a quarter, then this is how I start. So I hope that is worth something. I'm not a developer, so listen and look around. But I think it has a lot to do with the DAG generation. And so when the pool itself or the node, that's all these are, is we're just timing what node is going to hit, and so we have data because they're public and we call them pools, but they're nodes. Um, so I think when that network kind of freaks out on that difficulty adjustment and it's looking for a assigned block real quick, um, I think when it puts out that DAG adjustment, sometimes these smaller rigs um, get it faster. I don't know. That's just kind of a working theory. That is not a fact. So I would talk to other people about why these smaller hit rigs hit on the downward decline. But it seems to be something with that difficulty in the DAG. And that's pretty it. So that's pretty much it. I'm so sorry it was a little bit rambly, but those are the three networks that are kind of hittable right now with big blocks. There's a lot of other networks, that are good to hit with smaller blocks. So I might pull off Radiant because the hash rate is kind of coming up. And so one thing I'll kind of do to see if it's still going to come up, I'll look and see why is that hash rate coming up, So um, where in the heck is it? Okay, so price versus hash rate. And so blue price, red hash rate. And the price isn't coming up, so that's kind of odd. It could be something with FPGAs. FPGAs have been on Radiant for many, many months. And a lot of different FPGAs. So that is kind of odd that the hash rate's coming up. So I just use this 3070 Ti. It's a good core. And then I have one, and I kind of know it. So I'll come and look. I don't really see a reason why Radiant hash rate would be coming up from here. I don't think this is necessarily an accurate website, but I do know that a lot of people look at it. And it's not really telling anybody to go mine Radiant. It's way down here. So it's kind of interesting that that's going up. That could be, I had heard some tell about maybe some kind of, with the hum pool, maybe some kind of ASIC, but that is odd for that to be coming up. So, but yeah, I might peel off to Nexa if that difficulty is going to come up. Oh, good gosh. Yeah, because Nexa's pretty steady and very low. So we'll look at Nexa over time. Try to get them lined up. Yeah, that's very, very low difficulty. Heads up on Nexa, the pool payout is going to be 5 days delay. So just a heads up on that. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I hope some of that helped, and yeah, just let me know. All the best, and happy hashing, and welcome to Solo.